Welcome to the deep dive. So today, you've directed our focus to Vietnam.
That's right, a really fascinating country in Southeast Asia.
And our mission, as always, is to dig into the information you shared, geography, climate, culture, modern life, and really pull out the most interesting bits.
Exactly. Go beyond the usual headlines.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Geography. Where exactly is Vietnam?
Well, picture the eastern side of the Indochinese Peninsula. Vietnam traces this very noticeable S shape down the coast.
S-shape, right.
It's got China up north, Laos and Cambodia to the west, and then the East Sea, some call it the South China Sea, and the Pacific Ocean to the east and southeast.
That sounds like a lot of borders and coastline.
Oh, it is. The coastline is huge, about 3,260 kilometers, and the land border is even longer, 4,510 kilometers.
Wow.
And this position, it's historically made it a real crossroads.
For trade, culture.
Both, yeah. You see these unique blends in art, society, but it also, well, made it a strategic target over the years, shaped its identity, you could say.
And that S shape isn't uniform, is it? I remember reading it gets quite narrow.
That's right. It stretches about 1,650 kilometers north to south.
Okay.
But the width varies a lot. It's wider up north, maybe 600 kilometers, and down south, around 400.
But in the middle.
Yeah, in Quang Binh province, it shrinks down to just 50 kilometers wide, like a really thin waist.
Incredible. Just 50 kilometers. That must affect things significantly.
Absolutely. Think about climate, regional differences, how people live. It's not just a line on the map. It shapes the country.
Almost like a land bridge there. And being positioned between those oceans, that sounds strategically important even today.
It definitely is. It's always been a key transportation route, linking the Indian and Pacific Oceans.
So that influences its economy, its relationships now?
For sure. Trade routes, geopolitics, its location is still a really big factor.
Okay, so a long, thin, strategically vital country. Let's talk climate. Stretching that far north to south, it can't all be the same.
No, not at all. It's technically a tropical monsoon country heading towards the equator, but there's huge regional variation.
Right.
Up in the north and north-central parts, you get a humid subtropical climate. That means 4 distinct seasons.
4 seasons, like spring, summer.
Exactly. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. Someone visiting from the south in, say, January would find it feels like a different country, weather-wise.
So that must impact daily life, festivals maybe?
Oh, definitely. The feel of the year is quite different.
So that's the north. What about further south?
As you move into the central and south central regions, it becomes more of a classic tropical monsoon climate.
Okay.
And then way down in the far south, it shifts again, more like a tropical savanna climate, really influenced by the trade winds.
So the contrast must be pretty stark sometimes.
It really is. Think about Tet, the Lunar New Year. Up north, it could be quite cold, damp even.
Right.
But down south, it's usually warm, sunny. A totally different vibe for the biggest holiday of the year.
Yeah. Celebrating in coats versus short sleeves, almost. And the land itself, you mentioned the shape, but is it flat, mountainous?
Oh, mostly mountainous and hilly. About 3/4 of the country, actually.
3/4. Wow.
Yeah, so that adds even more variety. Microclimates, stunning scenery. It's not just coastline.
So mountains, varied climates, long coast. Sounds like it's rich in resources.
It is. You've got significant forests, a big seafood industry, obviously huge tourism potential because it's so beautiful.
Minerals, too.
And diverse minerals, yes, spread throughout the country.
It really paints a picture of a very dynamic place. How is it all managed administratively?
Well, it's divided into 63 provinces and cities. That helps manage things on a more local level, given all the diversity.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's shift to the culture. You mentioned diversity, and the source material highlights 54 distinct ethnic groups. That's incredible.
It really is, and that number, 54, translates into this incredibly rich tapestry of traditions, arts, languages, ways of life.
Does the geography play into that? Are groups concentrated in certain areas?
Often, yes, especially in the more mountainous regions. You can travel not very far and encounter completely different cultural practices. It's a real internal mosaic.
And this richness is recognized internationally, too, isn't it? UNESCO sites.
Yes, several. Vietnam is very proud of its heritage sites. Ha Long Bay is probably the most famous natural one.
Ah, yes, the limestone karsts.
Exactly. Those incredible jagged islands rising out of the water. It was even named one of the new 7 Wonders of Nature back in 2011.
Why is it so significant, beyond just being beautiful? Any cultural connection?
There is.
Huh.
Many of those islands and caves in Ha Long Bay are tied to Vietnamese legends and myths, so it has this deeper cultural resonance too.
And festivals seem central to Vietnamese culture, reflecting all that diversity.
Absolutely central. They're driven by religious beliefs, yes, but also by the unique traditions of all those ethnic groups. They're vital for community for remembering history.
The source mentioned Le and Hoi.
Right. Lin is more the ceremonial part, showing respect, praying for good fortune. Hoi is the festival part, the communal activities, games, performances, the things that make each festival unique.
Are there any really big ones that stand out?
Well, the two biggest are Tet, the Lunar New Year, which we mentioned.
Right, with regional variation.
Exactly, like the Lim Festival singing in Bac Ninh, or the Giong Festival near Hanoi, or the Hung Pagoda Pilgrimage. Each region adds its own flavor.
And the second word?
The Hung King's Temple Festival. That happens every year around the third lunar month. It's a really important commemoration of the nation's legendary origins uniting people.
It sounds like these events really embody a deep sense of history.
They absolutely do. And all this, the stunning landscapes, the deep culture, you can see why the source material mentions Vietnam being compelling for filmmakers.
Yeah, provides quite a backdrop.
Definitely. Visually stunning and culturally rich. Lots of stories to tell there.
Okay, let's bring it up to the present day. Contemporary Vietnam. It sounds like a really vibrant place.
It absolutely is. Very dynamic. Great for visitors, but also lots happening with investment and development.
What characterizes it?
Well, you've got that buzzing street life, incredible food, of course, and those amazing landscapes, but also this interesting mix
Mix of what?
of modern urban life sort of rubbing up against deeply rooted traditional values. It's a balancing act.
How does that play out? Like ancient temples next to modern cafes, that kind of thing?
Exactly that. You see ancient pagodas tucked into busy city blocks. You see young people in modern clothes making traditional offerings.
And in the countryside.
Life might follow the harvest and the rivers more closely, but people still have smartphones, access to technology. It's this coexistence. It's really fascinating. You can have ancient history and modern art in the same day.
And for visitors, that natural beauty is a huge draw, isn't it? Where should people look?
Oh, loads of places. Up north, the mountains are spectacular, and obviously Ha Long Bay.
Right.
The Central Coast has history, like in Hue or Hoi An,
Right.
but also fantastic beaches.
And the south.
Down south, you've got the energy of Ho Chi Minh City, and then the Mekong Delta, the river life, the villages. Very different again.
You mentioned beaches. Any specific recommendations?
Well, there are great beaches all along the coast. Nha Trang and Phu Quoc Island are really popular. Clear water, sand, reefs.
Okay.
And for something different, the Con Dao Islands, a short flight from Ho Chi Minh City, are important for sea turtle nesting. Quite remote, quite special.
You mentioned Ha Long Bay again, and Sapa.
Yes, Sapa is the other big natural highlight, especially up north. Famous for its incredible mountains and those terraced rice fields.
The ones carved into the hillsides.
That's them. Like giant green steps going down the mountains. Amazing sight, testament to nature and, well, human effort over centuries.
So stunning scenery, but also that deep culture you talked about. It's not just skin deep.
Not at all. The history goes back millennia, and you really feel that connection to old customs and traditions is still strong. It's in family life, respect for elders, preserving crafts.
And the UNESCO sites are windows into that.
Exactly. There are 8 across the country. Each tells a different story.
Like Hue.
Yes, the imperial citadel and tombs in Hue tell you about the Nguyen dynasty.
And Hoi An.
Hoi An shows you what a bustling international trading port looked like centuries ago. Amazingly preserved. These sites really bring the history to life.
The source material also talked about street culture being really vibrant.
Oh, it is. The streets aren't just for getting around. They're places for business, for eating, for socializing over coffee, even getting a haircut.
Right on the sidewalk.
Sometimes, yeah. And the cities, especially, just buzz with the sound of millions of motorbikes. It's an energy you have to experience.
And within that buzz, you still see the ethnic diversity.
You do. Maybe the less obviously in big cities, but definitely if you travel to rural areas, particularly the mountains, you find villages where ethnic minority groups maintain their unique clothing, languages, traditions.
How can visitors experience that respectfully?
Well, through interacting with local communities, maybe learning about traditional craft like weaving. There are some great community-based tourism initiatives. It's a huge part of Vietnam's appeal, that cultural richness.
Okay, we have to talk about the food. Vietnamese cuisine is world famous now.
Ah, yes, the food, and rightly so. Freshness is key. That's what the source emphasizes. Lots of herbs, vegetables. Exploring the food is, well, it's an adventure in itself.
And it sounds like the best stuff isn't always in fancy restaurants. Street food is big.
Huge. Those little sidewalk stalls and kitchens, that's where you get some of the most authentic, delicious food.
Oh, like what? What are the classics?
Oh, things like bun cha in Hanoi, grilled pork with noodles, sticky rice from street vendors, banh mi, the baguette sandwiches for breakfast, and pho, of course, the noodle soup. Perfect on a cool day.
Mouth-watering. And I assume, like, the climate, the food changes region by region.
Absolutely. Local ingredients, local history, it all shapes the cuisine.
So what are the differences?
Northern food is often seen as maybe more subtle. Dishes like bun thang, that complex noodle soup. Central Vietnam, with its royal past and hue, tends to be spicier, more intricate. Think on sen, lotus seed rice, or nem lui, those pork skewers.
Okay. And the South?
Southern food often uses more sugar, more herbs, reflecting the abundance of the Mekong Delta. Things like kako, to fish, caramelized in a clay pot, or conchua, a sweet and sour soup. Really distinct flavors.
It's like a culinary journey just traveling through the country.
It really is.
And finally, coffee. Can't talk about Vietnam without mentioning coffee, right?
Definitely not. The Vietnamese coffee is, well, it's a daily ritual for so many people. And it's seriously good coffee, too.
Mostly Robusta.
Yes, high-quality Robusta grown in the Central Highlands. That fertile volcanic soil is perfect for it. It's a major export, globally recognized.
And the coffee culture itself.
It's everywhere. Loads of cafes in the cities, from traditional spots to super modern ones. And the way it's made.
With a little filter. The fin.
Exactly. The tears thing, like that slow drip method. It's part of the experience. It forces you to slow down, savor it.
A moment of pause in that busy street life. Well, this has been incredibly insightful. It really paints a picture of Vietnam as this captivating mix, natural history, modern energy, amazing food.
It really is all those things.
So it leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener.
Indeed. Consider this. How does Vietnam manage to hold on to its deep-rooted traditions, things like family values, ancient crafts, distinct regional foods, even while modernizing so rapidly? What does that ability to blend old and new tell us about its unique identity and its appeal in a world that often feels increasingly the same? Something to ponder.